Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. Very happy to announce that I'm bringing on Founders Metals. This company is one of the best performing, I think, exploration plays in the last year and a half, ever since 2023 when the company acquired the Antino project in the Guyana Shield. I am chatting with Colin Padget, President and CEO of Founders Metals. Company is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol FDR, on the OTC markets under the symbol FDMIF, and the Frankfurt Exchange 9DL0. Colin, look, as I said, this stock has just been running ever since you guys took hold of that Antino project. There's been a lot of good drill results coming out and a lot of drilling that is continuing. I think you have about a 45,000 meter program just this year. So, Colin, let's start from the very beginning here of when you acquired the project in 2023, how this company came together.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, thanks for having me on. We got going, well, the first time I was to site to Antino was in November 2022, doing a due diligence tour. And that was after meeting the guys that had the option agreement on it. Auria Mining held it before us. And they basically got in a situation where they were looking to sell the project, to do some work on their kind of core asset. And I was looking for a project. So it was kind of right place, right time. Due diligence in November, closed the transaction in March 2023, bought 2 diamond rigs of our own and got them to site, started drilling in June last year. A couple of press releases out July, and then August we had 15 and a half meters at 31 grams, which is, I think, when the attention really took off. And 10,000 meters last year. And yeah, like you say, 45,000 this year.
So let's talk about how you're earning into this project. It's 3 stages to get to a 75% ownership. Take us through those stages and where the company's at now, please.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, 3-stage piece. We're through the first stage. So just crossed that about 6 weeks ago. That's 51% of the asset. So we're now in that control position, which is a nice place to be and a big de-risking step. Next step is 70%. That requires $10 million US spend on the ground. We're a good ways through that right now. And given the recent dollars we've raised and the pace that we're operating, I see us coming through that, in the first half of 25, having the 70%. After that, there's another 10 million US spend that would take us to 75 if we want to do that third piece. Otherwise, we can convert or head straight into joint venture after stage 2. And that gives us an opportunity potentially for some dilution, of the option owners to give us a bigger piece than the 75.
So what about some of the historic work done on this project? I see that there has been some drilling. I don't see any sort of historic resource. So take us through what work was done before Founders Metals took over.
Sure. Yeah. No historic resource, but Golden Star Mining there in the late 90s. And then Reunion Gold was there in kind of 2006, 2008 era. Between the two of them, about 30,000 meters of drilling, but half of that was RC drilling. And they also did almost 35,000 auger samples collectively. And it's really the auger sample piece that's been, the biggest benefit to us. After that, not a lot of geophysics work done. There's some overall, regional magnetics work. The Auria guys that we picked up the option from, they had done some LiDAR survey over a decent sized portion of the property, which we followed up now and covered the rest of. So that's what we came into it. All very well organized, so it certainly helped getting us off the ground, but we've added a lot since then.
Talk to us about the drilling that you have done then. How many meters to date have you drilled since you took ownership or at least control of this project on the exploration front? And let's walk through some of the targets. I think there are 3 or 4 key targets you're going after.
Yeah, so to date, just over 10,000 last year. We're at 36, almost 37 this year. So 47,000 meters total right now, spread between 3 areas at this point. We've got a drill on each of the 3 main targets. Upper Antino is where the bulk of our results have come from. We've had 1,800 plus gram meter products come out of the drilling there, a very high success rate or hit rate in terms of drilling. And our next drill is in Boise. We released results of the first 12 holes or our kind of phase 1 drilling down there. For the first 12 holes, we came out with 78 meters of 2.35. And, inside that 20 meters of 7.5, which is pretty fantastic. I think worked out even better than we thought it might for the first go. And we're now on another, 7,500 plus meter program there. And then the most recent one is Lower Antino, which, in terms of news flow, will actually be the one we have coming out here in the near future. Will be the first results from that initial campaign. Kind of same as Boise, started with around a 3,000 meter program, but we'll get, I think, some early results out on that and continue providing news on it.
Now, Colin, what's the distance between all these targets? Give us a bit of an overview on the total land package size and where these targets are located on this project.
Yeah, so property itself is 200 square kilometers. Upper Antino sits in the kind of upper northwest corner of the property. About 2 kilometers to the east is where you find Lower Antino. It's along this kind of main shear, along this creek area. And then 6 kilometers to the southeast from Upper Antino is where you find Boise. So these things are fairly far apart. And if you were to, take the Antino project and lay it over top of, one of the gold camps in Ontario or Quebec, you'd see that, these would be multiple companies, multiple deposits kind of thing. And so it's an exciting spot because it's really a lot of potential for kind of gold camp type discoveries or level discovery.
Well, and that's a key thing too, right? Is that this is still pretty early stage exploration, but you're already hitting some quite impressive holes that the market is taking note of. How do you go about filtering these different targets then in terms of maybe focusing on one or two or even three to move forward with those and focus more of the drilling on those individual targets?
Yeah, I mean, that early on, it was easy to focus because we didn't have enough money to do too much else, then stick to the Upper Antino stuff. But, at this point, we've got those three main areas. We're going to continue putting work into them because we keep seeing, gold come out of the ground in the assays there. And I think, part of the story with Antino is progressing on multiple fronts or multiple targets at the same time. And that's what shows people or communicates to the market really the scale of the property or the potential, for multiple, potentially multiple multi-million ounce gold deposits. And that's really what we want people to understand is that, this has that potential for, tier one status gold deposits similar to some of the others in countries. So yeah, I think continuing to explore those as many targets as we can, at least from the kind of early on ground exploration piece, keeping a pipeline that's pretty healthy, but also staying focused and making sure that we're getting enough meters into the ones that are developing to, really stay on track.
So out of that 45,000 meters that's planned for this year, how far are you through that?
So about, 37,000 meters right around there right now.
Let's also talk about the location of this project then. It's in the Guyana Shield. Look, some people just completely ignore this part of the world when it comes to exploration, but fact of the matter is there's a lot of companies that are operating there, even large companies that are operating there. Bring our listeners up to speed a little bit, lay of the land in the Guyana Shield around this Antino project.
Yeah, so Antino, we're in the southeast corner of Suriname, right in the center of the Guyana Shield. So Suriname was formerly Dutch Guyana. To the east, you have French Guyana, and to the west of us is English Guyana. Suriname itself has two producing or operating mines right now. Newmont has the Marion mine, which is operating for, we're coming up on 10 years here. And the big one is Rosebel, which has been in operation for almost 2 decades. So, and that's right now being operated by Zijin, who recently acquired it from IAMGOLD. So there are some big operators in country, history of stable production for over long periods of time. And the Guyana Shield as a whole, I would say, but Suriname in particular is very much a mining and gold mining focused economy. It's a big part of the culture.
One other aspect we should mention with the drilling is that you actually own your own drill rigs, and that drastically reduced the cost of this exploration. You're doing diamond drilling. Bring us up to speed on the number of rigs that you own and how that does help keep costs under control as you continue to explore.
Sure. Yeah, I was looking back, maybe a bit of a risky decision at the time, given the bank account balance, but yeah, it's worked out really well. So we started with 2, we've got 3 operating full time right now, and a 4th one on the property, with plans to have it going, full tilt in January. Right now, I mean, what really keeps the cost down, I mean, we manage all of our own, supply chain. We're able to be very flexible. There's not the same sort of standby costs and things that you'd see if you were bringing in one of the big drilling companies. And then we hire locally as well, which is very important to us in terms of community support as well. But 90+% of our crew is Surinamese, and all of these things come together to keep costs quite low on the drilling front. We consistently come in, sub $200 Canadian per drill meter, and that's including our camp exploration, assays, etc.
Let's also talk about the team then. It's your first time on the show, so give us a little background on yourself. We should also bring up Chris Taylor. He's well known to our audience from Great Bear Resources. He just joined your team as a board member. Give us background on you and then also anybody else on the team that you want to highlight, please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, we're very happy to have Chris on board. He was a great addition and kind of part of the beginning of turning that over and bringing people on that have the right experience to take us where we need to go and appropriate for the size of company we are today and where we see ourselves going. Myself, my background, I started, I guess, earliest on the business side, a little bit of banking, but really I went back to school pretty early for geology, grad school in geology. I worked in the Yukon for quite a number of years, bedrock mapping, a lot of focus on orogenic gold, which is the type of deposit that we have at Antino. So that's proven to be quite helpful. But bringing this project into the company was really that was when I came on as CEO. And so this is my first go as CEO, but so far so good, I guess. And beyond myself, really, we have a fantastic team, and that's been a big part of our success. Pascal Vogely, our VPX, is, right from day one, has been fantastic on the ground, excellent geologist, and is really a big part of the success in Suriname. After that, from a technical standpoint, and this is something that, we've gotten, some recent praise from Chris in particular, is on the technical side, beyond Pascal, Vincent Combs is our chief geologist, and he did his PhD on the Yao deposit across the river from us, about 10 kilometers away. And the structural geologist, there's really no one on the planet that understands the rocks better than he does. And it's given us a really big leg up on our understanding and just the level of detail and level of technical work we can do and be done in a short period of time.
All right, let's also talk some other company fundamentals. One being cash in the bank. Quick update on how much cash the company has, and then also share structure wise. I'm seeing about 75 million shares outstanding, maybe about 81 million on a fully diluted basis. So well done keeping that share structure tight early on here. Take us through some of the key shareholders as well, please.
Sure. So, we just closed the B2 transaction here this morning. So with that done, we're be sitting around 86 million shares out, have around $37 million in cash in the bank. So fully funded for the next, 12, 18 months potentially of exploration work. Big shareholders. We had Rob Colin with Dynamic Funds come in very early on for a 9.9 position back last August. And he's remained a big shareholder and is currently our largest shareholder on the institution side. BlackRock came in May for another 9.9 position as a single check back then. It was $1.60. And then most recently with this recent round of financing, we were able to bring on quite a few other, really high quality institutional investors, at that same kind of scale and caliber as both of those guys. And yeah, we're very happy to see. We wound up upsizing $5 million really just to make sure that we got in, those institutions that we wanted to see in the story. So
I guess overall then, Colin, look, this is an exploration play. You're cashed up, you're continuing to drill, and so far you've had a lot of success with that drill bit, and we can see what's happened in the share price. Give us a lay of the land, just recapping news flow. What investors and those looking at this company need to be aware of and have their eye out for?
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit. It's going to be more of the same. We have a track record of, continuously providing news to the market. We've now got 3 drills moving on 3 different targets. So it's going to be news by the end of the year on all 3 of those zones, Upper Antino, Lower Antino, and Boise. We'll likely sneak in a little bit of extra exploration work outside of that where we're seeing some interesting things. We also have metallurgy, the kind of final metallurgical results. We just recently got those back and getting that written up to get out to people as well. Pretty happy with how that's turned out too. So lots between now and the end of the year. And then after that, it's a drill story. We'll have 4 rigs turning. That's, 5 to, upwards of 6,000 meters a month in production. So it's lots of news in 2025.
All right, Colin, thank you very much for this update. I will post a link to the Founders Metals website in the show notes. Click that link, learn more about the company, and please send me any questions or any further topics that you want Colin and I to discuss when I bring him back on, as I'll follow up when the company releases some more drill results. Colin, really appreciate the update today. Thank you.
Oh, thanks very much.